On3 was able to hire someone who was essentially a nobody in the space. They decided to hire a kid with 8,000 YouTube subscribers at the time. I bet there's several hundred, if not several thousand other versions of me out there that were every bit as talented or intuitive, but like stopped their podcast at episode 3.
I think Netflix has a whole like podcast section where you can watch
Yeah.
podcasts now on Netflix. I mean, that's a new distribution channel. It didn't exist 6 months ago.
Like, I genuinely think the voices of the future are all going to be podcasts, social media, and things of that nature.
So any advice you give your younger self now that you're sitting here, you've walked down memory lane, like what's the big advice? What's the big takeaway here?
I think the big takeaway is
JD PicKell, my brother. I mean, how many scoops of pre-workout are we on today? I mean, are we caffeinated? Like, I know you're a big fan.
I need to dial it back. It's like at a certain point when you're like, oh, the previous caffeine dosage wasn't doing it. I got to go more is like never a good sign. I don't know. I think we've talked about this. I love doing caffeine pills, which sounds like super. It sounds way more hardcore than it is. I just like the stuff I'm looking for in pill form and none of the additives and like a coffee, or I love energy drinks, but like that to me is like been the least amount of crash. So 2.5 caffeine pills, 3.5 caffeine pills today. So we're doing it.
I mean, I could probably do a whole podcast on that, right? I mean, like, I want to know the milligrams. I want to know the proper dosage. I want to, like, you know, but the guns are looking sweet, bro. The guns are looking good.
I just happen to fix my hair that way, just so you would say that. I appreciate that. What are you talking about? I appreciate that.
This is amazing. That. Yeah, well, I hope people buckle up today because I am talking with JD PicKell. Like, JD, do you ever like pinch yourself? Like, for a living, you talk about college football.
Yeah, I mean, the luckiest guy. It's if you could tell younger me that this is what we do for a job, I wouldn't even care if we were able to pay the bills or not. So this is a blast. It's this funny balance of, I think we're all, whether we want to admit it or not, looking to our left and our right and seeing how we're stacking up next to, you know, our peers in our field or who we graduated with. But like when you can quiet the noise as best you can and just be grateful, like it's the coolest job, and I'm so lucky to get to do it.
Yeah, besides playing ball, right? So, you know,
or
maybe you've gotten to a point where, okay, you still just a little bit want to play ball, right? So, well, dude, I mean, this is what I want to talk about. So I don't know what the headline of this podcast would be, but you know, I'm in marketing, and, you know, we try to amplify a lot of authority signals, and this whole thing around people building audiences, building their own personal brand. I think people would really enjoy your story. So do you mind like doing a trip down memory lane? Like 100%. I've known you forever, but
100%.
Like how, and I got to watch it front row seat. It was amazing. But like, how did you get into this? I mean, like, take me back to like, I don't know, Lutheran high school, you know, in Orange County, California, just a kid playing wingback. I don't know. How did this all come about?
Yeah, it's you mentioned memory lane there. It's a long lane, man. So I appreciate you inviting me down it. Went to school to play ball. Super fortunate for that. Super grateful for that. There was no undergraduate major of journalism or broadcasting. So I was kind of at this point where I knew I wanted to do something in sports media. And at that point in time, like, you see people on ESPN anchoring Sports Center and people on College Football Live, you know, calling games, like, that'd be sweet. But there was no supernatural endpoint educationally for me undergrad to do that. So I ended up studying hotel administration, of all things. I was like,
there you go. Yeah. Perfect field.
The next best thing, right? I mean, all the greats did hotel admin if they couldn't do.
It is
journalism.
The best program at Cornell. So like everyone just calm down a little bit. It was competitive.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, you say that and people like look at you like you took underwater basket weaving. I'm like, dude, I was trying to keep my head above water. So it was still brutal, but Yeah, in my what was it at the time, like 20, 21-year-old mind, I was like, I'll figure it out when I graduate and we'll go from there. Um, all throughout undergrad, had a blog talking about college football to where I was like, even if I have no official, they call it a reel. If I have no like highlight tape of me doing actual broadcasting to show people, I can put my name on something and say, hey, here's some of my work I've done in this field. Do you want to take a chance on me? Which in my mind was like going to be a good pitch after school. So anyway, um, finished up undergrad at Cornell and then had one extra year of eligibility to use and wanted to go somewhere bigger than I could have gone out of high school. So I walked on to Baylor, which was an awesome experience. Got there in the summer of, I guess it would have been 2019,
Mm.
and went through the summer training program, got into fall camp. During fall camp, got another concussion, and so I had to retire. But the story within that was during, your onboarding more or less into a football team like Baylor, there's like a media day, which is essentially a fancy way to say take pictures in a uniform, take a headshot for the roster, and we'll get you on your way. Waiting in line to get my picture taken. The guy who runs Baylor's sports information for their football program started making conversation, said, hey, what do you want to do when you're done playing ball? And in his mind, he's probably like, what do you want to do here in like, a couple months here, buddy? You're on the you're on the clock. And I mentioned like, hey, I'd love to do sports media. No idea what that looks like. So fast forward the tape when I retire, 4 or 5 days after that, get a text from somebody that did media in Waco, Texas, that said, hey, got your name from so and so at Baylor. Name was Taylor Bryan at Auburn now. Taylor Bryan said you want to do sports media. Why don't you come by and like do a post game show with us? That'd be awesome. And so I mentioned the long memory lane here. Had I not had that conversation with Taylor Bryan during media day at Baylor, like never would have gotten it in with this company in Waco that invited me for the first time with zero training, do some stuff with them on camera, talking Baylor football. So that was kind of the start of it, and from there, started a YouTube channel, and the right people at On3 saw the right stuff over the time of building that up, and I was fortunate to move out here to Nashville about 4 years ago. So that's kind of the long condensed version of the route.
I remember, wasn't there a stint doing work with Colin Cowherd?
Yeah, okay, so that's a really cool way to I wish that was how that's like I took a picture with Colin Cowherd my last day. So I
Okay, yeah, so it
interned.
wasn't like, "Oh, I was Colin's boy."
Yeah, I like that story way better, to be honest.
Yes.
So
Well, you heard it
during
here
my
first on the
undergrad,
pod, yeah.
yeah, Colin, he's Colin. Why don't you get in here? Um, so during my undergrad years, I didn't tie this back very well throughout the story, but I mentioned I had like that college football blog I was doing and trying to kind of move and shake and network and whatever. Ended up going into my senior year, getting an internship at Fox Sports, working on a
That's right.
show called Undisputed, which was Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp, super early in the morning. It was a really good opportunity to like see the inside of what making television looked like and that whole broadcast. But after Undisputed would wrap up and I was finished with my work for the day, Colin Cowherd on the same set would like have his show going on. So I'd finish up work and then at different points, go like watch his show just standing on the set, which was like such a cool thing firsthand to be exposed to. And then last day they were nice enough to let me go take a picture with him
Also,
before
like, you're
leaving the internship.
21, 22 at this point, and you're so close to the dream, you can taste it. Like, I could see myself doing this. I mean, that's like that must have been pretty surreal.
Really cool. I mean, just cool to see it up close to and see how someone like that operates, during a commercial break. How is he thinking about things? How is he taking notes? And I say that like I was super, super close to him throughout the course of my time there, but even just like seeing it from
Yeah, you're
different
watching.
vantage points was really informative and really cool.
So you got on with On3. I mean, like, what is it fair to say was close to startup at the point when you came on board?
Yeah, I was I don't love the word lucky because I think that almost like takes away credit from
Mhm.
what God does in our lives, but it was a
Mhm.
very fortunate circumstance for me in the sense that On3 was looking for a video talent a year into their existence, like their second full college football season. And I just so happened to, at that same exact time, be building a channel to where I think if I don't think I'm saying anything out of pocket here, saying On3 was able to hire someone who was essentially a nobody in the space. They could build up, grow with, and not have to go spend an inordinate amount of money to go hire, Scott Van Pelt at his peak if that was
Mm.
something they were in business. So in that way, my career aligns really well with On3's, and just super grateful that they decided to hire a kid with 8,000 YouTube subscribers at the time, which in the context of like people that get jobs in this space now is like microscopic in terms of buying people's following. So
Do
yeah, I
you
was
get
super,
asked
super
a
grateful.
lot how you got to where you are? I must like I feel like even in my world, like even in the B2B marketing world, everyone's I turn around and that guy's got a podcast now.
Yeah, for sure. And I think like the biggest question that you get asked is, hey, where do I start? And the other thing with sports media too is it's such a different space to get into relative to whatever other space your friends are getting into out of college. Like there's no like apply here button, give us your resume,
No.
we'll get back to you in 3 days. It's like, do you know somebody? Is your dad somebody at a network that can get you an audition somewhere? Like it's so ambiguous. And so the question I get is like, hey, how do you get into this space? And my answer more often than not is it's not a novel or like super impressive answer, but it's like, hey, go start your own thing, because the way they used to hire talent and the way
Yeah.
they hire talent now, two very different things. Used to be just what I said. Are you a legacy name? Did you work in Beaumont, Texas, doing local news for long enough time to where we can hire you
Mm.
to our bigger station? Now it's like, do you have a following? Do people care about your opinion on things? We'll not just buy you, the person, to come work for us. We're going to buy your following to come with us as well. And I mean, Pat McAfee's a great example of this. Pat McAfee went to
Yeah.
ESPN with like 2 million YouTube subscribers or whatever it was. Like they bought Pat McAfee, but they bought Pat McAfee's audience as well.
Oh, that's super interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I know you don't like the word luck, but and I'm not saying you were lucky, but like luck is I forget the quote is where
We're so lucky. So
yeah,
lucky.
well, I mean, it's where hard work and timing like come together. I mean, like when the opportunity arose, you paid the dues, you did the grinding, um you weren't a nobody.
That's kind of you. I Relative to anybody else who's getting jobs at that point in time, it felt like I was talking to somebody at like one of the first like college football things I went to as a personnel symposium here in Nashville, where like people who are in the roster building side of things come to Nashville and exchange notes. I was talking to somebody and they were asking me my first year on the job, like, hey, what were you doing before this? And I was like, did a YouTube channel, gave the very condensed version of what I just took 10 minutes to tell you about. And they looked at me, they're like, it's a big jump. Like, yeah, yeah, it is. It is a big jump. Yeah. I mean, wasn't going to say that myself, but yeah, it feels like it. So, but yeah, really grateful that On3 has been supportive and took a
Yeah.
chance. And yeah, I feel lucky. If I wasn't lucky, I feel lucky.
Well, yeah, this podcast has about 10 followers, but like of the 10 people who don't know you are, I mean, like the when I really was like dumbfounded is when I saw you on the Paul Feinbaum show I was like, oh, the kid's good. The kid's good. And you were
Appreciate it,
awesome
man.
at it. I think you guys were ribbing Lane Kiffin. I think it was pretty awesome.
That's
Who I
his
know he doesn't
pinata,
have
it
or he
seems.
has an interesting relationship with. I guess I'll say that.
Yeah, no, anything that Feinbaum has to say about Lane Kiffin, if I can even be a small fraction of the conversation there, usually good things are happening. But no, I appreciate it, man. It's yeah, he's
That's
been
really
super
cool.
good to us. Yeah.
Well, one of the things I think I wanted to get into is your format. It's just you talking. I'm so lazy. I have to do a podcast. I have to have somebody else, have the ideas, and I just have to come up with questions. But you have all your content lined up, journalistic angle. I don't want to say hot take, but like you're diving deep. Seems like a lot of SEC, a lot of Big Ten, right? That's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of what you're getting into. Like, what is your creative process or what is your content process? I mean, I know you probably, I think mornings, I think you've mentioned to me, are sacrosanct. Talk to me about the process. I think a lot of people struggle with that, me included. Would you walk me through how you like, is this going to be interesting or not? You must have a pretty good
100%.
mind for that at this point.
100%. Well, one, I appreciate that. Two, I mean, a lot of times I'll start with the process part of it. For me, it is I feel like I have the most clarity, and I feel like I'm the most fresh right around like an hour to 30 minutes into waking up in the morning, to where there's not too much tugging for your attention. You haven't given too much of your energy other places. So for me, like, I need to put it down on paper if I'll remember it. And people take different notes different ways. For me, I am like, the less I have down on paper, the more I feel like I have a good angle for what I'm about to talk about. So, like, for example, here I've got been looking at doing a preview for like an Auburn Tennessee game in a little bit here, and
Let's
like I
go.
just got bullet points. I got too much text there probably to feel like super confident about what I'm saying just yet. But for me, it's like, if I can just walk into a segment, and if it's going for 8 minutes, do I have like 3 to 4 main points I want to hit? And like, I don't want to write too much down on that piece of paper, because then I have too much to remember, and then there's too many. Like, I just want to have 3 to 4 big picture ideas. Let's hit all of those. Let's make them somewhat unique in how we deliver them. If we can put an analogy in here that comes to us, great. If we can compare it to something else in the college football world, great. But the idea is, like, let's be as concise as possible, like, with how we're thinking about this, and then fill in the space with the things that intuitively feel right to speak to there. So it's funny, like, the best segments will usually just have like 3 to 4 sentences on them, maybe a small like bullet point next to it, and you're kind of just riffing and saying what feels right. So it's
Interesting.
definitely a reps game for sure.
I mean, so in terms of like research, is it just watching a lot of ball? Listen, I mean, like what other external influences are you looking to for? Like, is that the whole week? Is like, imagine you don't have a lot of downtime because you're always on camera. You're always trying to come up with the angles, but you got to fill your head with lots of football. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, you try to consume as much football as possible for sure. The tricky part is people that I love listening to in the space, like a Joel Klatt, who's phenomenal for Fox, or a Josh Pate, who I share a studio with, phenomenal. You almost try to not hear their opinion on it before you give your
Mm,
opinion, because you don't want to subconsciously say something that they said. Or if you're going to go, uh, glass half full, like, oh man, they said that first. I wish I had said it that way. Why did they say that? So, you compare. It's just, again, that
yes.
comparison thing. So to answer your question, like, you watch a lot of ball. You just kind of say what you think. You also I try to ask myself the question of, like, why does this matter here, as opposed to just reporting on what we all saw in the game. I think it's easy to start recounting what actually happened in the game, as opposed to giving an opinion on the game, which I try to steer clear of. But yeah, you ask yourself why a few times, you watch as much as you can, and you try to also get out of the way of whatever else you have to say as well. Like, I think a lot of times in just any creative space, it's easy to get precious and protective, and start to want things to be perfect. And I think some of the best creative pieces, and I think this profession I do has a lot of creativity to it. You don't overthink it, and you just kind of go for it. So I try to leave a lot of space and margin for that part of it to happen. Um, so yeah, so you're watching, consuming, and then the base level, reacting with enough prep to make it interesting.
That's interesting. So why do you think you've been able to resonate when so many others haven't?
That's a great question. I think there's a couple. I think one is, like, I'm consistent. Like,
Mhm.
it is amazing. I bet there's several several hundred, if not several thousand, other versions of me out there that were every bit as talented or intuitive, but like stopped their podcast at episode 3, or like stuff got in the way, and they had to make money, full-time job stuff, had to pay the bills, whatever, and just said, okay, this isn't realistic for me. Like, I was, I would say, very fierce in my pursuit of this, like, to give myself credit in that sense. Like, I was going to my 8 to 5 job. I was going in before work and building the YouTube channel, shooting videos. I was going in at lunchtime shooting videos and building the YouTube channel. Like, I knew, if nothing else, like, I'm going to get better by doing this more. People talk a lot about, having your reps on camera, which I think is a fair point to make. I think as you get those reps, though, like, the more you do it, the more shots you give your audience to find you and to buy into you. So I think there's the consistency part. I try my best to be authentic and deliver to, like, the people that watch our show, like, whether you agree or not with what I have to say. I hope there's a sense of, hey, this dude, one, is informed, maybe even more so, like he cares about what he's saying. And I think that resonates with college football fans in a unique way. There's not a lot of like hot take artists, I think, in our space that have been able to resonate just because it is digital media and people have to go find you. And then two, I think college football fans can smell fake. So try our best to care and be real and be consistent.
That's really good. That's really good. Do you ever look back, like maybe the Baylor experience was the perfect niche to start on? I mean,
For
smaller
sure.
market team. I mean, like all fan bases, they were engaged. You were serving them in a way that they probably hadn't been served, in a while. I mean, like, because we talk a lot about here in marketing messaging is like, if you're having trouble, segment the market, segment it again, go more narrow. Like you're talking to banks. Okay, well, let's talk to regional banks. Let's talk to regional banks that have these types of products. I can kind of see like one of my best bosses, he was an executive search recruiter, right? And he was just this major producer for our firm, but he would go places nobody wanted to go. Hanford, Washington, El Paso, Texas, Bakersfield, California. No offense to any of those cities, but none of the other big recruiting firms wanted to show up and do, CEO searches for their hospitals. And he's like, I'm down. I'm down. These are great. Um, he did really well. I don't want to knock Baylor. I went to Baylor, but
Sure.
you went to
Yeah.
Baylor, but like
Yeah.
it was an underserved market that you found gold.
Yeah. I think there's a level too of and I'm just working this idea out in real time, but I'm just picturing if you end up getting a chance to go be on the Ohio State beat, your first ever job, or you're doing, commentary on a big brand like Georgia, like there is a greater potential for you to maybe lose your courage with whatever you say or whatever you break down. Like that's a pretty high exposure brand to speak to. And so it's not to knock Baylor by any stretch, but I think there was maybe a great benefit in the things that I'm saying about Charlie Brewer or Dave Aranda or Matt Rule, like isn't getting picked apart to the nth degree, like maybe it would be at some of those places. And I mean, it's not fun to have people like say mean things about you online, regardless of where you are. And so like to be able to dodge some of that, I would imagine early in my career, maybe like helped grow the confidence muscle in some sense. I don't know. But and that way I think definitely served a purpose for sure.
All right. So you brought it up. What's the meanest thing someone said about you?
Dude, it's a really good question. I don't know. I think like especially early on, like getting to On Three, um, personal stuff like you shouldn't have your job, which I think people are just more free to say now anyway, which I mean, everyone gets an opinion online, which is fine. But like hearing that and then halfway believing it yourself when you show up at a new place, you're like, shoot, don't say it out loud, man. Like that, don't tell everybody else that I'm just like faking this as well. Because I think everyone thinks they're faking it until they make it. Not that I like lacked confidence in the, you know, ability itself that I had, but just in the sense that like, oh wow, somebody genuinely felt the strong enough emotion to put that on. I think the other part is like not just that they say something online, it's like, hey, who else agrees with what they're saying? And like, do people that I
Mm,
actually care about the opinion, are they seeing this and like, huh, maybe they got a point? Like that stuff early on really hurt my feelings. I like to think I became more callous since like the first
good.
year doing this job. But yeah, early on, someone being like, how does this guy have a job? Like, yeah, I don't know, dude. I
No, yeah,
was
yeah.
I
It's
was
good. It's a
doing
good
healthcare
question. I don't
recruiting
know.
before. Yeah. Don't tell anybody. I don't know. I don't know.
That's phenomenal. Was there any like big mistakes that you made that were lessons learned?
Dude. Yeah. So my maybe it was first or second week at On Three. I won't say who the recruit was, but we have such good reporters at On Three to where they will have a really good gauge for where a kid is going to commit to before um they announce it for the world. And so this kid is committing to committing on ESPN to a high profile school on a Friday, I want to say it was. On that Thursday, we record hey, he's going to this school. It's going to be great. Da, 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 have it in the can to when he does commit. We hit publish. It's out there. We're the first to market. Great. Um, to make a long story short, saved the video in a way to where some people could still access it on YouTube. So it wasn't out there published, but it was like tucked away enough and people could find if they searched hard enough for it to where like this ends up on message boards and the headline is on 3 jumps to on this kid's commitment. And like, dude, again, second week, we had like just moved to Nashville. Like I felt this big to it was such a like a gut punch, bro. That was a tough one. So I'll tell you who it was after we get off the air, but that was a brutal drop of the ball by your boy, and I had to definitely like earn some trust back of the coworkers after that. Not fun, not fun.
Well, this is just apologies everywhere, kind of a thing.
Yeah, you just walk in like tail between your legs, like, hey, sorry, won't happen again. Luckily, it like didn't blow up enough, and our channel at the time was still small enough to where it didn't totally like just ruin this kid's moment. But it was out there enough to where it's just a bad look for everybody involved, most notably, yours truly. So yeah, you
Yeah.
just kind of put your head down, realize you just, kind of cost yourself quite a few trust points and just try and let the work speak going forward after that. That was tough. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. I wanted to get into just like the current environment where we're in now. Not so much college football because I know lots have changed, but I mean just media in general. Just YouTube is saturated, not just with content creators. In my field, it's AI content is really people don't know what's real anymore. Whether written or even video content at times. It's just a lot of noise. Like, do you have a view still on like where we're going, what's going to continue to resonate? I know it's a harder question putting you on the spot, but I really
No,
be
it's great.
curious if you had an opinion on it.
I really think, to allude to what I kind of had mentioned earlier, I think that all of the people in our space going forward, I say our space, like media space, will
Mhm.
be podcast people, social media people that
Mhm.
maybe end up having a deal where they have their digital thing and also do linear TV where they have a show on Fox, they have a show on ESPN. But like, I think that this is now like the new media. And I know like the term new media has been thrown out there for a while, but I really just think, and Joe Rogan's kind of said this as much, but I think that people can tell now when they watch a afternoon news broadcast, reading from the teleprompter and the fake voice, like it doesn't mean anything to people. Like you don't resonate with that. You can't identify with that. It doesn't feel genuine, which is why there's space for a Joe Rogan and whatever other podcast to kind of work in here and be something that people relate to and enjoy on a more real level. So it's a really roundabout way to say I think real in media will continue to win, whether that's um, this AI spree we're on passing over or whether it's new creators. Like I genuinely think the voices of the future are all going to be podcasts, social media, and things of that nature.
Yeah, I'm just always like, whether it's Boys on the Bus, right? Or Julian
Yeah, the bus
Edelman,
with the
like
boys.
how those
Yeah,
podcasts have blown up. I mean, and they're good. They're great. I mean, they're
yeah,
really good on camera, great content, great. And they have access to, which is, and the other thing I've noticed, I think is Netflix has a whole like podcast section where you can watch
yeah.
podcasts now on Netflix. I mean, that's a new distribution channel that didn't exist 6 months ago.
I'm fascinated by that because I wonder what like the viewership is. There's some established podcasts, like a Pardon My Take. I think it's the biggest sports podcast in the world. I'm sure
Right.
they kill it on Netflix. I wonder that the other podcasts, like how, and I don't know this. I just wonder how sustainable that's going to be for others going forward. Because now you put up another barrier to entry to where maybe your YouTube numbers were great or not great, but now I got to pay X a month to go find your podcast that maybe wasn't crushing on YouTube
Mm.
before. I wonder what that looks like here. Putting a paywall between the consumer and the audience,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
and the
that's
creator.
interesting.
So
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
mean, when Rogan signed the Spotify deal, everyone was terrified that, there was gonna be a paywall, but he kept it free, but he did add ads, which, he never really did before too, so
Hmm. Hmm.
kind of interesting. So, he didn't
Interesting.
even show up for the podcast awards.
But
So
I
it's
think
kind
that's
of
why
a,
people
it's
probably
kind of a
love
shame
that
of an
guy.
industry. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's so funny. It's like him and McAfee. Like they're just down to say like screw you to the man and to the way that it used to be done and to big media. And like I just think that's so endearing. And I think it's a big reason why people love those dudes is they're just they're just real, and I think that's always going to win.
That's awesome. So any advice you give your younger self now that you're sitting here, you've walked down memory lane, like what's the big advice? What's the big takeaway here?
I think the big takeaway is just keep going,
Yeah.
which isn't novel and not that, like, I think one is start the thing that you are on edge to start or don't think you can do or don't think you can turn into a job or doesn't make money. Like,
Mhm.
just start that and don't worry about what happens monetarily. I know it's way easier to say that now where you're able to pay the bills than it was then. So start, but then also like keep going. Again, there's so much opportunity out there if you're just willing to sustain and strain just a little bit longer. And so whatever the reason is for you to be consistent in doing that, like, stick to that and stay to that and let that kind of be the wind beneath your wings. But genuinely, like, so many people quit before they even get a chance to see if they're any good at the thing they want to do. Like,
Yeah.
just so many people do 4 episodes of the podcast and say, it kind of sucks. Nobody listens. And I don't have a nice mic. So therefore it's not like, it's just, there's always a reason to not. And so if you just like can run through those walls and not care about the other stuff, um, good things happen. So I'd tell younger self, look, let's just keep putting shots up, baby, and we'll see what happens.
It's really good too, because like when you're starting out, like we're always worried about being perfect. No one's gonna see it anyway, right?
Yeah,
When
no,
you're
yeah,
starting out.
legitimately.
So
And like, don't be
start.
discouraged that nobody sees it. Don't
Yeah,
be
don't be
discouraged that nobody
discouraged, but
sees
like
it.
you're getting the reps in and you can keep working your craft. So I think this is episode 51 for us. So
Heck yeah,
like,
let's go.
yeah, I know, like we're really excited about that. But like I looked at episode 1. I think it got 4 views. And I think it was me
Let's
watching it
go.
the 4 times.
Heck yeah, let's go. Let's go.
But like it built, it's good, and like, and we serve a small niche, and there's something that's important to our community. So yeah, I mean, it's fun and it's important. But like again, I love that. The other takeaway I think was just like the passion, the genuineness. Like I think that really resonates through. Like even if your content's a little off this week, you're in it. Like you're the
Yeah.
man in the arena, the woman in the arena. You're doing the work. You're passionate about it. You're trying to add value every interaction that you have. I think in a world where media can be so cold and transactional, this is something you're like, no, this is. There's a marketer called Seth Godin. He wrote a book called Tribes. Like this is my
Hmm,
tribe, and I
hmm,
care about my tribe, and I want to give them something where I'm one of them.
hmm.
And they're one of me, and like this is the interaction that we expect from each other. I think that's really cool, man. I think you're doing that beautifully.
I appreciate that. That means a lot. And for what it's worth, like, the other people that stopped their podcast after 4 views, like, they'll never know. They'll never know what it could have
Yeah,
been episode 51, and like,
yeah,
they have to live with that for the rest of their life. Maybe they've made peace with that, and if they have, good for them. But like, that sucks that they'll never know what episode 51 could have looked like, and there's and stick with that quote, the cold dead souls that neither know victory nor defeat. Like, that's actually
mm,
what's brutal. Other thought on the 4 views thing. Josh Pate says this, and I think it's a great way to look at it. He talked about how he was doing his show for Josh Pate. For those that don't know, the best in the college football digital media space, does a phenomenal job. One of the first like creators to really break through on the digital side for college football. He talks about, like, you can be doing something for a couple of years and be like, why am I not getting my big break? Why isn't that happening for me yet? And then, once you get that break, look back and be like, okay, thank goodness that break didn't come when I wanted it. I wasn't ready for it. Like, I wasn't ready for the high level production, the bright lights, the broadcast, the count in 3, 2, 1, we're live. Like, I would have frozen up. Like, I wasn't good enough yet. And so, anyway, even
yeah.
that of just like knowing that the timing of it all is right, even if it feels like it should happen sooner. I thought was a really, really wise take.
That's really good. Yeah, in a world of like canned content, or I'm sure people steal your takes all the time. I mean, that is just like so rampant all the time. I watch your stuff, and I tell everybody like I like it was my take, but that's that's just because I'm trying to show
It
off for
is.
my buddies who like I know anything about college football whatsoever. But yeah, I mean, I think just that genuineness, that originality, I think like, does this add value? Those questions you asked, I think that's really, really good. Dude,
Appreciate it,
JD,
man.
like not only are you amazing at your job, you're an awesome dad, husband, just brother. I mean, I love that you took the time to do this. This might have been my big break. I don't know. This
Let's
is
go,
cool.
baby. Let's go. Well, I mean, I want to appreciate you saying that, but dude, this is awesome, and um, I love that you're doing this in this space, man. This is phenomenal. So whenever we can do this again, you say the word, and we'll make it
Dude.
happen. This is it's a pleasure.
Oh, I appreciate you. Well, what's your do you have like a goodbye or anything that you do? Oh, wait, do we get a juice box? Like
Yeah, man. Yeah. Do I have any juice stuff in here? My juice helmet's in our studio, but yeah, we got and that even goes back to like the passion thing. Like you can get 80% of the way there with like good attitude, effort, energy, good juice. Like you have good juice about stuff. Like you're literally separating yourself from 80% of the other people. Neither here nor there, but that's also part of the deal. Yeah.
hello. So everyone gets a juice box on this show. I
There
appreciate you,
we go.
brother.
Love you, man. See you soon.